Hi everyone. Good morning, good evening. How are you guys?
Nice. Good. Thank
Good.
you.
Thank you for asking. How are you?
Yes, I'm good. So let us get started. What we discussed in the last class?
Test cases.
Yes, test cases. Did you create test cases, everyone?
No, Priya, I could not create. Today was the very
Okay.
busy day for me. I'm sorry, I will create tomorrow.
Okay. Others? Anyone created test
Even
cases?
I did not create, yeah.
I
I'll
did.
do it tomorrow and send it to you.
Okay, fine.
But
So
I
what
did
is
only for
test
three.
case?
Only for three scenarios I did.
Yes, it's taking long time, Priya.
Okay. So Nilima, you
Yeah,
want to share a screen and show?
I would like to share.
Chandrika?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm making you host. Please share a screen. Yes. Can you share? Yes. Very good. So, verify user is able to log in with valid email password. User should have valid Google account. So for that, you are writing, open any browser window, open YouTube, okay, select login button, enter valid email address and password and next and sign in. And user should be able to log in. This is fine. The type is positive you have given. Okay, invalid email format for this. Okay, user should use a valid Google account to log into it. Okay, verify login attempts failed when user enters invalid email or password. Okay, for this you have three scenarios: invalid email, invalid password, and both invalid you can take invalid password, invalid email, both, or empty email field, fine.
Mm. Yeah, I have a confusion here. Whether I want whether to write the scenarios in the sorry, test cases for first scenario or second scenario. It took me to think for a long time. I just got
Yes,
confusion
yes.
about.
That will take time. Initially, it will take long time to write a simple test case also.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you have to remember is you don't need to create a common, like this scenario is common and you are writing three test cases. Okay.
Yeah.
Do not have to have that way also. Like you can directly write scenario verify user is not able to log in with invalid email, or next you can write is verify user is not able to log in with invalid password. Okay, and user is not able to log in with empty email. So that is your scenario straightforward. Okay, so it need not to be a common, then you create a three test cases, not always
Oh,
required that way. Okay, scroll down. Okay,
that's all.
verify email, verify channel names able to take special
No, I did
character.
not get the chance to write on this. For I just wrote
Okay,
one.
fine. No worries. Anyone want to share a screen, show test cases?
I actually forgot the way you said. I did not write the preconditions. I'm sorry, but I'll share what I have.
It's okay. It's like it's a learning process.
Yeah.
Okay, we can't write very perfect scenario in the first itself.
Yeah.
Share a screen, Nilima.
Sure.
Others, did anyone write? Sai
Yeah.
Sudhir, Somita.
I wrote it down. Sorry, it was a very busy day for me. Tomorrow I will definitely do it.
Okay. So action is verify user is able to log into app. Then you are writing some steps. Open a browser, open a YouTube, then type a user. You can write input or enter. Okay.
Okay.
Because that is a very formal language and we use that way.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
So click on account information, select sign out. You are signing in and signing out. Okay, both. Verify user is able to subscribe to channels. Okay, which
I
is
have
also correct.
the scenarios here in the separate window, so I took few scenarios and I do test cases.
Yeah, which
That's
is fine, which is fine. Okay. So the format you can correct it. Okay, I'll share
okay.
a format. You can make a note of it. Those columns, if you write below those columns is fine. Just you have
Okay.
to give the step numberings also. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
good. No worries, good. So I'm sharing my screen. Make a note of this format. There should be a test case ID. So what happens is you write multiple scenarios. So suppose something is you have some inputs like you are reviewing, you have a team member. So you can say that test case 3 needs an update or test case 4 is you have to make changes like this. We cannot always say that, okay, add a comment scenario, positive scenario in that you have to change this. Okay. You can have some IDs so that it is able to like easy to track. Okay, and the count is also you can maintain with this. Okay, TC 50 if you have, meaning is you have total 50 test cases like that. So numbering also you can maintain order. Test case description and objective is can be similar to your scenario or it can be more elaborated. Okay, so user is able to download a video, user is able to subscribe a channel, or you can start with verify, or you can start with validate that. So if testing is verification, validation. So you can write validate that user is able to subscribe to a channel. Okay, which looks fine. Now, after this objective, you have test data precondition. So there should be some precondition, meaning is something you need in advance, right? So at least you need a URL. Okay. So you can write user should be able to access below URL. So it should be accessible. Okay. It should be available. Otherwise, we cannot test it. So YouTube, this link should work. Initially, what happens when it is in the development? Now you might be thinking why YouTube will not work. Okay, why we have to write this precondition. But think in terms of your developing. You are the testing it for the very first time. Your team is developing and they are not ready with the code. Then this link may not work. That may not be available because the page is under construction. You can assume it in that way. Okay, then what will happen? You cannot test it. So what you have to do, that should be your precondition to write. So what is use of test case is, suppose you have some junior members joining in. Okay. Now you are a senior QA, you have created test cases, you followed it, you have some pass and fail, you have reported defects also. So if you have this document, what it will help is the junior QA, once they join, you can just hand over this document to them. Okay, these are the test cases. You practice and understand the application. If you have question, ask me. Nobody has a time to explain it line by line to others because they are also working professionals, so they will do it by their own also, some of the things. Okay. So what you can expect from them is like you can give a 1 hour KT. In it, you give overview of entire project in that 30 minutes or 1 hour. But nobody will explain line by line test cases to others. Okay, so how you understand by looking at the project, looking at a documentation, others should also understand similar way. So you can give some 30 minutes of overview on the application, but they should be able to do it by their own. So you can expect in the similar way, like when you join a company, you will also get similar kind of information. Somebody will give overview for 30 minutes, that's it, or 1 hour max. If you have again questions after 1 or 2 days, they will again give you 30 minutes of time. But nobody will explain the project entirely. Okay, so we have to spend time, read the document, understand. So you may get the test cases and then they will ask you to, okay, understand the test case and do the testing also. Okay, so then how we are going to do the testing? We first check the description. Okay, what it is. Okay, it is something to check on this portal for this activity. Then we go to test data and prerequisite or precondition. So precondition is user should be able to access. So we go and access this URL. Is it working? So if this is not working, we will directly say to our senior QA that okay, I'm not able to access this. So prerequisite itself, I'm not able to access. So I cannot test it. Right. Obviously, we will say that this precondition is I'm not able to met. So then I'm not able to test it. Yes, able to understand?
Yes.
Okay. For example, this precondition is working. Okay, you are able to access it. So you have to click on this, open a YouTube, already we opened, then search a video, then search some video. Okay, then you have to click and view and subscribe to a channel, which can be anyone. So initially you might not know where is a subscribe. So you have to think and see also, like you have to go through it and you have to click on it, you have to check it. Okay, what is this? Uh, yeah, okay, there is something channel and then subscribe it. Okay, that you have to spend some time. Okay, so now the buttons are on the left hand side or right hand side, we have to see. Okay, you see the application, view it, understand it, and do the testing. So this is the overall how we have to understand a test case. Now the actions that we write are going to be the steps continuously, like where to click, scroll, or left hand side you have option, right hand side you have option. You can give that elaboration also, which is required. Now for each step there should be expected. So Chandrika, how you mentioned like common expected result, user should be able to log in.
Yes.
That is not very appropriate. Okay, you have to write expected result at each step. Okay, and
Okay.
take it in a separate line. Do not make it in a one column, so that it is everything is merged. No need to merge. Uh, Left hand side we will be merging. Okay, so this we can merge in case we want to, but not required. Okay. Now these three steps are for this test case one. After that, you can add one blank line also, okay, which can be just a
Priya,
line of
you are
separation.
mentioning this verify that user is able to watch video as a test case one, but it is in a scenario, right? Test case is different, test scenario is different, right?
Okay, so for a test scenario, we write test case.
Yeah. These are
Okay.
the action steps, but where is the test case?
Test case itself is action steps. So test case itself is this test case ID, precondition, actions. So you write actions, and for each action you have expected result. And this is when we test. Okay, actually what is happening, pass fail. This is your test case, and when you are executing it, meaning is you are testing it. That time you write actual results and status. Now, what is scenario? If you go back and check, scenario is just a test scenario ID in which module it is and what is the scenario. That's it. We are not going to write preconditions, steps, expected results, actual results, any sort of anything for test scenario. Test scenario is high level. Just what we can test for that page or that feature, we write it. Now in the test case, we write actions that are nothing but steps. In scenario, we won't write actions. Okay? We don't have steps. Actions is nothing but a steps. So in some test cases, you have 10 steps. In some cases, you have 3 steps. Okay, in this test case, user should be able to view which is this. User is able to add a comment. In it, you have 7 steps. Okay, which is your test case. Some test cases will have 3 steps, some will have 10, some will have 7, 8. So that is the step count will vary. These are the action steps that you have to follow in order to test this test case. This is nothing but a test case. Okay. You can write it down the format of test cases. Okay. And make a note of this test case, which is we created. Okay. User is able to add a comment and comment to a video and view. Okay. This you can make a note of. So these are the columns we have to take. So let me copy it here. So that easy to make a note here. Okay. So you can make a note of this test case. And follow the same pattern. Like follow the same columns. Okay. Sometimes you might have less or more, but overall the meaning of test case will remain same. Like obviously you will have action steps, expected results and actual results and status in the test case. Okay. Every time wherever you have test data, test precondition for a test case. You will also have columns such as created by, reviewed by. So who created, who reviewed, those also columns you will have. Okay, make a note of this format.
तो स्क्रीनशॉट प्रिंट में जाऊँ ना, सर्च करूँ प्रिंट।
Yes, any questions?
अपने आप नहीं ले लेगा स्क्रीनशॉट, तुझे यहाँ से पहले लेना पड़ेगा।
Any questions?
So Priya, we write these scenarios and test cases in Jira itself.
Generally we write it in Excel. Okay, many companies will follow Excel because Excel is very much easy, like copy paste you can do. You have like lot of flexibility while using Excel. Whereas in Jira, it may not be that flexible. Okay. So writing it in Excel would be better and followed in industry as well. Okay. We can share it for others for a review. Suppose we have to send it for anyone in the team members or PO. So it can be tracked as well, like the comments, the anything. So many companies will follow Excel format like this. Okay, how we are writing. So very few times it is written in the Jira, but directly we cannot write test cases in Jira. We need a Zypher or some plugin for a Jira which will allow these columns to add. Okay, these columns will be available in that extension, which is again a paid one. So companies may not take it. So nowadays people are not following that much of very process oriented testing. People are just worried about, okay, how we have like the project should be tested, and there should be no bugs, and there should be automation so that we can test it quickly. So everything is related to moving towards agile. So in agile, we don't have to follow the documentation very stringent way. You have a lot of flexibility in it. So what is a priority? So customer is a priority, and working software we have to deliver to customer. So in it, people are not following that entire process of writing test cases, reviewing it, writing it in a Jira, maybe not required. So you write scenarios, that is also enough. You write just high level test cases, that is also enough. You do the testing, that is most important. You report defects. If you are not able to report a defect, then the question would come, okay, what are the test cases you are testing? Okay, show me that. Then the test cases will be asked, but not in the first place. So writing test cases, having test cases is very much important if you are a beginner and new to the project, and also like project is also new, everyone is just starting with that project. The test case will play a very important role in it. If you have been working in the project, you have a lot of good understanding about a project, then slightly it will take a back step. Okay, you know already what to test, you know how it works. So it becomes just you write some scenarios and do the testing. Okay, just share what you are going to test. So in that case, we write scenarios like this. Okay, these are what scenarios we are going to test. But these are not very easy to understand for any new person in the team. Like you have to explain them, this is what the project is, this is how we have to test it, everything. So again, if you have a project where people are changing, people are joining in, some people are leaving, then you should again need a test case. How we are going to explain to others? Like you will have a lot of features, hundreds of features we will have in the project. So now though that all we cannot explain to others. We will write test cases and it will be shared with everyone for their understanding to create. Okay. So test cases will be written, followed. Okay. The QA first job is to write test cases. And test cases needs a little practice. We cannot directly write a test case. You have to practice writing test cases, reading test cases, understanding this, executing the steps also. So write at least 10 test cases today, everyone.
And it
Okay.
is not required step that we have to get all this test scenario and cases reviewed by our team lead before we work on a test scenario. So
Okay.
that is not a requirement.
So that is again depends on project to project. For example, if your project is new and everybody every team member is also new, then this process will be obviously followed. You have to write test cases scenarios, that you have to get it reviewed by the team lead, and team lead will also write some of the test cases scenarios. He will get it reviewed by product owner also, like am I testing it in a right way or not. So there will be formal reviews, informal reviews, and that process will go on. But if your lead is in the project from some years and he knows it, so he will only take ownership and he will review, and he will not even ask product owner anything. Okay, he knows that project. Okay, this is what we have to do it. Now if you are also some years spent into the project, then it may not be the process required. Okay, as such, they will directly give you the task. Okay, do it, and you do it. That's it. Okay. Your lead will not ask you to share me the test cases. I will review. Nothing required.
And when the development is done, then we are doing a testing. Then we find a bug. So what do we assign to the developer? We assign the bug, test scenario plus test cases, or
No, we just assign a bug. Okay, we just create a bug and assign it. So test case is a QA document. That is whole and soul QA document. Test cases are. So if developer is asking, we may share it, but it is our document for QA people, for what to test. We should have that also. For that reason, we have the test cases. Now, defects are for the developers we are creating. Okay, this is the issue. You have to fix it. Okay, so defects are assigned to the developers immediately, like we create it and we assign it to somebody, or we report it, we share it with developer manager saying that this is the issue we have, or we share it with our lead. Okay, I am able to find this issue. So now developer manager will decide which developer I should assign this defect so that he can fix it. So in this module, suppose XYZ person worked on, so he will assign to that person. We don't know, maybe, okay, who is working on which module. Developer manager would obviously know. So he will assign to a specific person. We just report it. Okay, this is not working and we have reported this issue and this is the bug ID. That's it. This we send it a email, or you put it in a channel, or put it in a like your Teams group or your Slack group that you have for the project people. Now where you have developers also. In that group you post it, or you send an email to entire team members that okay, this is the issue we reported. Or what people do is they make a note of all the defects in that day, whatever they reported, 5, 10, and end of the day they send an email like these are the 10 defects we reported and these are the IDs of it. So now you take care of it. That's it. So we send a mail to developer manager and developers also. Then who is working on which module, what is the defect particular to that module, they will pick it up and they fix it. Now, test case is completely QA document. Like QAs are responsible, QAs are going to maintain. So we are going to share within the QA team members, you have to do this testing, you have to do this testing. Suppose you have 100 test cases, we assign. How we are going to assign the different test cases to different people? Like you have 4 people. So you allocate test cases with the names. Okay, these 25 you have to do. So this 25 Apurva should do, this 25 Chandrika should test, and this 25 Ankit will test. Like this, you have allocation and you will test it, complete it, and you share a progress also. These are my test cases completed as. Okay. So what will happen in this is you are able to track also, and you are not missing any scenario to test also. Okay. And you don't have a confusion that he might be testing, he might be testing. You know what you have to test, and others also know what they have to test. Okay. So it is a complete QA document. QAs will maintain it, QAs will update it on a time to time basis. If there is any change, they will only change it. If you have to add more test cases, you will add it in the same document. You will add it some more 100 test cases. So now you have 200 test cases because your project is growing in the agile methodology. Initially 2 features completed, now 4 features completed. Then you are going to do the testing. So you have to maintain it. So QA document is test cases, test scenarios. Defects are we are going to report it to the developer team. So internally, to whom they assign is they decide. We need not to, like, if you know directly this person only worked on this, then you can assign it to him. Some companies won't allow direct assigning QA to, like, directly assigning defects to developers. Okay, so that is not a process, that is not allowed, because developer, why he will work if you are assigning him a defect? He will work if the defect is assigned by his manager, because it is both are different teams. Now we are in a QA, so we follow only the QA lead or QA manager what they are saying, not the developer manager. Even though developers also, they won't listen what QAs are saying or QA managers are saying. They will only be under the guidance of developer managers, developer lead, and they will have their own team structure. Okay, they will listen to their own team people only, their head only. Okay, so that entire structure is different of developers and junior developer, junior like developer lead. that architecture is different. Okay, entire structure. And again, in the QA also, junior QA, senior QA, QA lead, QA manager, this hierarchy is also different. Okay, but as a team, we have to work with the collaboration. So we just inform that, okay, these are all the defects reported. Now they will take care of it, like which one to assign to whom, who is available. Based on that, they assign. Okay, and who is working on which module, based on that also they assign who is skilled in which component. Somebody will be better at UI development, somebody will better at backend development, so they assign based on that understanding as well. So overall it is a teamwork. Okay, so did I answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, so everyone able to understand how it works?
Yes.
Yeah, so make a note of test case, okay, and write, today you have to write at least 10 test cases, okay? So make a note of this format. Done, completed everyone?
Yes.
Columns you can make a note of, okay, one test case you can make a note of. Done?
Yes.
Okay, I'll give 2 more minutes. So now consider we have test cases ready. Okay, we have 100 test cases are ready. Now the test cases are reviewed also, and you have final test cases. Review is how it is done. So we will just have a look at. Suppose you have written some test cases. Now in the review, the reviewer lead will look at your test cases and application. Okay. And are you following the proper steps? Okay. Do you have coverage of all the scenarios on that feature? Suppose you are testing a YouTube application and in the comments or in these features, list of features, are you covering all the list of features? Like you have like, share, subscribe also. You have other options as well. You have download, clip, save, report. So are you covering all the scenarios in the test cases or not? Or all the requirements are tested, all the features are tested? So if you are testing only subscribe, not the unsubscribe, then again you will get a comment that okay, you have to check the user is able to unsubscribe to the channel also. That is also required. So that coverage is important. You have to have the coverage of each and every feature. So that we are not missing any defects in that feature. Okay. So if you are testing this page, you have to test it each and everything, like what options you have in this page. Are those options working? If you have like full screen, theater mode, mini player, you have to set, like check everything, how it is working. Is it working or not? In the settings, what options you have. Okay, in this also, like you're able to reduce a volume, play the next. Everything, every option you have, are you testing or not, will be reviewed in the review. Okay, so that we are not missing any defects. Clear? What is important in terms of review?
Yeah.
Okay, why it is important to cover each and every option?
To catch up.
Yes, to catch a bug, so that we won't miss out any area to test and we miss the bugs to report. Okay, it will be a very bad impression if QAs are not able to report bugs. What will happen? The product owner will test it. He will report the defects, obviously. Now, before he does, if the QAs are reporting, that is a QA job. If QAs are not able to report, then the product owner will also get a question like what these people are doing there. Then if I have to test everything, every small scenario, then what QAs are doing? So that are some difficult questions to answer to the QA. So we won't go to that level where we are having difficulties to answer to the product owner that why we are not able to report those defects. Okay. So fine. Now we are done with review and we have test cases ready. Now what we do is we are going to test it. So when we actually test, what is we need to do? We have to have this application ready. While we are designing, maybe this application is not ready. Just you have a screenshot. With that, you created this scenario, test case, everything. Okay. It can be possible that just you had a screenshot of the page and with that you have to write a test case or test scenario, both. Now, when we have to test it, we have to have the application ready, then only we can test it. Okay. Suppose we are testing and we are testing the test case, which is to comment. Like we launch this URL as per test data. Okay, then as per the step you follow, log into the Google account, then search a video. Okay, search for some videos on automation testing, for example. Okay, and then we are going to watch it. Okay, then what we have, play, scroll to the bottom, comment. Okay, play it, scroll to the bottom, then add a comment. Okay, something like this. Okay, now you add a comment and you are going to post it and check it. Okay, we are able to add a comment and test it. So something is added. Okay, so if everything works fine, what we write, it is working, right? So some people will write as expected. They will write as expected. That's it. And some follow application is open. So they write it in the present tense. Actual results will always be in the present tense. Application is open. User is able to log in. Because it was working. Okay, when we trust. Search is also working.
Results are displayed.
Yes. Search results are displayed. Then you have video is played well, okay, or it was working fine. Then user is able to comment. Yes, user is able to comment. You can write just comment. Comments are added. Now next, for example, comment is not visible on the top. Your comment is very at the last or in the middle, or you had to search it. Your comment is not available. Then what we will write? Comment is not visible. Because it was not visible. Whatever is your expected is different and your actual is different. Okay, then that will be pass or fail.
Negative.
Yeah, it
Fail
will
it
fail.
is. So till this point it was passed, like it was working as expected. It is also user able to do it. User is able to play that. Okay, video is also working. Comment is also added. So it was passed. Now comment is not visible. Comment is not. Okay, we have to write is not visible. Then it is fail. For a expected result different than, okay, for actual result different than expected, we have to write it fail. Now fail meaning is we have to report a defect. Defect 01, we report it saying that comments added for a videos are not visible. Or comments are not added itself. We don't even know if it is not there, then it is not added, right? Only the input box is displayed, but it is not getting added. You can say that. So comments are not visible. With that, we report a defect. So when we write it fail, when it is not as per the expected result. Correct? So when we do the testing and we find out the application is not behaving as expected, meaning is the application is not working. We are not able to get the results as per expected. Then it is going to be fail and we are going to report the defect in the Jira. Okay, like this you have 100 test cases. Out of 100 you have, for example, 20 are failed. Okay, for example, 20 are failed. What we do then? All the 20 defects, we send an email to developer saying that, okay, these are the 20 defects we reported today. Please have a look. That's it. We won't say you fix it or do it or anything. Okay, because we are a team members, that's it. We are going to say these are the defects. And you create an entire, or you create all the defects in this separate Excel sheet. And whatever is not working, we mention in it. And we send this Excel. Okay, some things will be there and you
So
entirely copy
Priya,
this.
sorry to interrupt, Priya. So we will share the Excel sheet, or we will directly report into the Jira.
We report into the Jira. What happens when you report it in the Jira? Which number you reported? What is that for? Who knows that?
Yes, so first we will create it in Jira, then Jira numbers we will share on email, right?
Yes. So for example, this defect 24 is our ticket 24 is our issue. For example, this Scrum 24 is the defect. Okay. So what we do is this number we mention. So whatever is your team name, here we created with the name Scrum, the project. So it is Scrum. If your project name is different, it will take Jira will take different name. Okay, it will take 4 to 5 characters only. So even if you have a long name. Now, this 24 is for some, and then you have some other defects also. Like these numbers we share with them with along with the description. Okay, we send an email because it is the best way to communicate, and the stakeholders will also be aware. Okay, what are the defects that are being reported? Now you are reporting it in a Jira, but your clients or your management, your QA manager will not go to Jira and check that, okay, do you actually have 100 defects or what is going on? So if you send an email, product owner, developer manager, QA manager, everyone will receive that email. You have to send to them or your lead will send to them. Okay. So your lead will articulate, like collect all the defects from the team members, all the IDs, and your lead will send a mail. Or if you are a senior QA, you will send it. Okay. Then once you send it to product owner, the developer manager, QAs managers, everyone. So everyone will start looking at it and everyone will have that, okay, these are the defects we have. Meaning is we have to fix it. We have a lot of issues. That issues needs to be fixed. And suppose we have the delivery to the client in this month, for example. So by 10th of March, we have to deliver to client. Then we have only 1 week remaining this week. We can't do that 20 defects fixes in that 1 week. So maybe they will communicate to client, push this, extend the delivery date, or they will ask developers very strict that, okay, you have to fix it at any cost. So they will make a decision. If you are communicating in advance, okay, these are the defects we are able to find, then the risk will be taken care. The risk is we are not able to deliver it on time. That is a risk, right? So client will not be happy and we have to communicate to client, and client is our highest priority in the agile. How we can be okay if we are not able to deliver it to client? We cannot be okay with it. We have to take action or we have to take communication and discussion with the client. Maybe you will get 1 or 2 days extension max. Then again, there is a stress of fixing these all defects. So that will be always there on the developers. They have to develop it, fix it, that always will go on. But as a QA, our job is to report defects. That's it. We are not thinking about developer will have a stress or whatever. We are thinking about a client only, and our job is to report the defects. So whatever we get a defects, we are going to report it and send an email every day. Okay, these are the defects we have reported. Okay, clear?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So like this, the defect list will be created in the defects tab. Okay. Now, what is RTM? RTM is requirement traceability matrix. So requirement traceability matrix is a document which will trace the requirements to defects. For a requirements, we write test scenarios. Yes. It may be Jira stories or it may be Word document. For that requirement IDs, we write scenarios. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay. Then for a scenarios, we write test cases. Yes.
Yes.
For a test cases, we have pass or fail status
Yeah.
after testing. After testing, if it is failed, we are going to report a defect. So can I say this requirement is failed? 101 requirement is failed with the defect 1. Requirement 99 is passed. There is no defect with it. with this requirement traceability matrix, we can say that this requirement is working fine. This requirement is development completed because it is passed, tested pass. Tested pass means completed, right? Yes, correct. Do you agree?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So now with this requirement traceability matrix, we can understand what requirements are yet to fix or yet to work on. There is a work, there is a defect. Okay. And what requirements are working fine, what requirements are done. So those kind of things we can understand from requirement traceability matrix. So traceability matrix will give a forward traceability, backward traceability. Meaning is forward requirement ID to defect, backward is defects to requirement. So this requirement, this defect is for which requirement? Suppose you have defect 02. This is for which requirement? You can trace back and check. This might be for requirement 102. So you can trace it back. This defect is for which requirement? And this requirement has which defect? Both the directions. You are able to understand from requirements to defects, defects to requirements. Right? So this is called requirement traceability matrix. Requirement traceability matrix will give us a forward traceability, backward traceability. Okay. And why it is used? It is used to understand. Okay, it is used by the managers mostly to understand what requirements are failed, what requirements are fast, okay, what requirements are passed, so that they can understand how much work is done, how much work is pending. Okay. So we get an interview question, what is defect? What is requirement traceability matrix? What is test case? Did you write test cases anytime? What are the scenarios you will test for this feature? Okay, you will get a questions related to scenario base as well. Suppose you have a Jira application to test. What scenarios you will test? Okay, they will ask you anything to write a test cases on. You have to think, come up with the test cases. Okay.
They can ask questions on Jira as well.
Yes. So Jira is a part of interview. Obviously, Jira, how you
Yeah.
report a defect in Jira, what is the status when you report a defect in Jira. Then you will
Oh, okay.
also get a question like what all details you put in a defect when you create a defect. So we add a description, we add a steps to reproduce, we add a screenshot. Okay. We add
Okay.
some more information about a defect, in which case it is, we have seen it, so that developer is able to recreate it and fix it.
Yeah, steps to reproduce we can mention
Yeah.
in Jira. Yeah.
Yes. So what details you will put in the Jira while you create a defect? Okay, what is Jira? Why you use Jira in your project? So people ask question, what is Jira? Why you are using Jira in your project? So Jira is for project management. And
Right.
as a QA, I am reporting defects in it. Okay, you can mention that defects I am reporting, and we keep a track of all the defects in the Jira and retest, change the status of it. So initially it is new. Once it is retested, we move it to done. Okay, while it is in the testing or development, it is in progress. Then once it is done, testing is done, we test is pass, we mark it as done, meaning is it is done. Right? It is now retested and closed.
Okay.
So this is how we do the testing. This is the process of testing. Okay, from the writing test cases and executing test cases, reporting the defects.
So Priya, requirement and scenario, they cannot be same. Like from the requirement itself, we are getting the scenario, right? And then under the scenario, we are creating all the test cases.
They cannot be same. What happens is when the requirements are written, they are the product owners or BA people. So what they do is, as a user, what user will do, they will write. Okay, as a user will watch a video, play the video. As a user will subscribe to a channel. Okay. It might be looking similar to scenario, but scenarios we have to derive from that requirements. So requirements will be just information. Okay, in terms of application, how user is going to use that application. So, and in it, they will give a just screenshot of it and give you, okay, test. This is what the user will do. Now, in the test scenario, we write negative scenario also. User should not be able to do this. Okay, user should be able to go to any video and play it. So that is not mentioned in the requirement. Requirement is saying that okay, user should be able to search it, give it, okay, this. But negatives are not mentioned. Like you have to analyze. QA job is to analyze and come up with good number of scenarios. It should be moderate. I'm not saying there should be high number of scenarios. Only the count doesn't matter. You have to have good number of scenarios which are moderate and which are covering all the possible combinations of the user input, all the buttons available, all the links available, all the flows, alternate flow, any you have, like user can directly launch to this if somebody is sharing the link with them. Okay, this may not be given in the requirement. You can directly go to that video directly by pasting in the URL. You can directly go back to the video which you want by the URL if it is shared. Okay. So if you write scenarios, with that scenario, what happens is we test application and we find the bugs. Now QA job is called test analyst. Why they are called analyst? Because you have to analyze and do the testing. Okay. So analysis is very much important. Analysis as a user, what user will do, what user should not do as a user. Okay, so we cannot allow him to do whatever he wants. Okay, there should be the proper error messages. There should be validation messages given. User is not allowed to do this or this, you do not have access. Only your accounts are available to you. Okay, there should be security to your data. We have to analyze and think. Okay, then the testing would happen. So testing jobs are called test analyst, QA analyst, QA automation engineer, QA senior QA. Okay. So these QA jobs are analyst jobs. You have to analyze, understand, and do the testing. Okay. Fine.
Yeah, UAT
Did I
people are
answer your
also
question?
QAs. So
Yes,
Priya,
I'll
I
take
was
your question. Did I answer your question? The previous one?
Yes.
Okay, okay. So Shreya, you're saying that the QA is going to do.
no, I was saying that the UAT team is from product owner side, or they are also QAs.
Okay. Yeah, so UAT testing is done mostly by the people who are sitting with the client. Okay, they might be sitting with the client. So generally clients are in the USA, for example. Now,
Mhm.
who is sitting next to the client? He will do it. There will be the special QAs or client will hire their own QAs for UAT. Okay, maybe
Okay.
not from your tech company entirely. So no, we won't do the UAT testing. If you are a QA who are performing this end-to-end testing from the very beginning level, then we are
Mhm.
not UAT testers. Some companies will hire for UAT testing only. So if you are hired for UAT testing and you are going to go to client location and sit with them and do a testing, then yes, you are the UAT tester. You are not going to do all these testing. Okay, which is from the initial phase of application development. So in the initial days, we focus on negative testing, we focus on alternate flows and all. But in the UAT testing, we focus on what client is asking and how user is going to use. Okay, so as
Okay.
per user with actual data, we test.
Mhm.
Okay, in the testing,
Got
we
it.
might be using all the dummy data, dummy accounts, dummy credit cards, dummy debit cards, okay, dummy payments, dummy deliveries of the items. Everything is dummy, nothing is real. But in UAT, we start creating actual data which looks like real, or it may be real as well. Okay, we give a real address. Okay, how the shipping is tracked if you're testing Amazon, like how the orders are delivered. So UAT is how user is going to use. It's actually how that process goes on will be done. But in the other testing that we do in the initial days, everything will be dummy. The accounts are dummy, the names are dummy, the whatever locations you give or mobile number or any tracking you give, that will be dummy. Address will also be dummy. So it is
Okay.
just for testing. It is just we are application testing. Okay, it is just we are code testing. But its a usefulness will be tested in the UAT. Okay, how user is going to do it. And after his UAT is passed, then we give it to client saying that, okay, this is now ready. Or client will do UAT testing and then they will launch it in the market saying that, okay, UAT is done, meaning is now I'm risk free if I launch in the market. If your market, if you launch it in the market and it is not even ready, it will be a bad impression. Your product nobody will use. Okay.
Okay.
I think most of us
So
are here at the client side itself, Priya. Like, I
yes.
mean,
So
to be
now
able
most
to do
of
like
you are
UAT
at a
itself.
client side. Agree, correct. So there will be very few jobs for a UAT tester. What they do is people who are working with them from years and years, they will assign them that work. Okay, UAT job, you do the UAT testing because you understood the project and because you already know it. So like that, they will promote internally the people who are with them from years. Or they hire also in some case. I have seen some of the job openings in the client locations as a UAT tester. So you can apply to that jobs. Then your job is only the UAT testing. You have to do the UAT test cases to write, and you have to test it as per the UAT because it is already tested. The basic functionality will be tested. In the UAT, you have to create all user flows, how user is going to use. Like he will create an account, he will log in, he will place an order with actual data. Actually, OTP should be received. Actually, he should receive a call for delivery. All should happen actually. So that UAT tester will do. Okay. So you will not have much of the defects in that UAT testing because already it is tested. Already so many things are tested. Lot of scenarios are tested, like negative scenarios, other alternate flows and all. So specifically now most of you are at a client location. So if you are applying to that job, you are selected for UAT, then you will be part of UAT or doing it. Otherwise, there are very low chances that we will be part of UAT. They will take somebody who knows the end user, okay, who has worked in the project for some years. Then they have that understanding. So UAT is a lot of responsible work because after UAT, nobody is going to test. Okay. At least QAs, even if you miss some of the defects, there is a UAT. UAT people will catch it. Okay. So your job is again responsible job, but you have slight chances of making mistake also you are allowed to do also, which is okay. But UAT people are not allowed to do mistake. If you do it and it is in the production, then it will be CRD, like it will be a big escalation saying that okay, people are not able to test it, end users are facing issues and that are coming to us. So entire business people will sit with that one defect, okay, with that one issue. So generally, UAT QAs are separate QAs. They know the product and then they have given that UAT job. Okay. So maybe initially they hire you for a QA, then they will promote you. Okay, for a UAT, because UAT at the end is UAT. Nobody is going to test after that. Okay.
So they just test happy path or negative scenarios as well.
They just test the user flow, happy path. That's it. They hardly test about negative scenarios. The low importance is given for the negative scenarios in the UAT. So low importance meaning is okay, there should be error message if yeah, some of the cases are tested. Yeah, the error messages should be there. Negative scenarios will also be tested, but as per user flow, like with actual data. Suppose you have added some incorrect file and it is not processed, then yes, you should get a error messages. And that is tested. But not to just break the application that we are providing all incorrect information and asking or checking that error messages. Focus is on user flow, focus is on how user is going to use it, usefulness of application. Okay, will it really work in that real environment? Okay, what challenges user will face? Suppose what happens is if you test it with dummy data entirely, now in the actual mobiles no OTPs are received, or actual emails there is no OTP received, or no email notifications are sent, then your application needs to be tested for all those actual data and also user flow as well. Okay. Like in the testing we do first, maybe you're checking the cancellation of orders, then you are taking the placing orders. But the flow should be you place it and then cancel it. What happens? Okay, so in testing, end-to-end testing or regression testing, you may not follow the process. You may not follow the actual data or do it. Like whenever which module is available, we test it. Okay, if the return order module is available, we just return orders. Okay, just click on return or cancel it. Okay, the cancel is status is displayed. That's it. But actually in the system, what is cancel? How the user is going to get a response for a cancellation? How user is going to get an email about it? What information will be provided for a cancellation? And then user, if user is not satisfied, what will happen? If user is escalating that my order is being cancelled every time, so how the other distributor has to respond to it? That are all real time scenarios. Okay, getting my point?
Yes, Priya.
So those real time possibilities will be tested in the UAT. Okay, so if the client is not happy or if the distributor is not able to process that order, so he will cancel it. What if he is able to process it with little delay? So how they are going to communicate that all. In the testing, we just test in a day. Okay, entire cancellation, is it done in a day? Or we won't think much on just cancellation status is displayed. That's it. Our testing is done. Okay.
Got it, Priya. Thank you.
Yeah. So UAT also you can get the jobs, okay, and you can apply to those also. So UAT will be majorly manual testing, which is testing the happy path and user uh, flows, how user is going to use, okay, how user is going to do each and every activity. Like he will first sign up with mobile number or email, then he will access your application, browse, search, then he will place a order. Okay, then he will place order, maybe one item from electronics, one item from fashion. Okay, the both will go to different distributors, so they will be delivered in the same package or a different package. How that delivery will be done, how email communications will be sent, in how many days it will be given to user, those things are important in that UAT. Okay, so uh, that is about the UAT and the testing. Okay, so we have today's task is to create test cases. Very simple. Test cases is not very difficult. Initially, it might take longer time. Scenarios, you are able to write it very quickly. Scenarios are just one-liner, so it will be done. But test cases may take time. It's okay. Give the time. Sit for 1-2 hours and write at least 10 test cases. Initially, you will take long time. Later on, you will be able to write it very fast. You will quickly think, okay, what is prerequisite for it? Okay, what is action I have to take? Okay, what is the expected result I have to write? So for each action, you have to write expected result. You will be able to write it. Initially, for 10, you may take time, but after that 10, if you write again 10, 20, you will be able to write it faster. Okay, so next assignment we have is on Gmail application. We have to write scenarios and test cases for Gmail. So if you are done with YouTube application test cases, write scenarios for Gmail. Everyone has a Gmail account. Email communication, we send email, we receive email, we read it, unread. Okay, you have draft, you have outbox, you have sent emails. Yes. What are the features in the Gmail?
Primary emails.
Spam,
Yes, spam, sent
trash,
emails, outbox, trash. Okay,
Drafts.
again you have
starred,
starred
snoozed.
also, label also. You have compose email. In it you can add email data, images, attachments, and then send it to different people, CC, or you can add VCC, you can add two to the multiple email IDs. Those scenarios you can write. So write the scenarios for Gmail and test cases for Gmail. Okay, this is assignment for you if it is done for YouTube. If not, then write YouTube and do this tomorrow. Okay, day after tomorrow, weekend you can create for a Gmail. Okay,
Okay.
so in the next class tomorrow, I am going to review test cases. Okay, so everybody, will you be able to write test cases?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So, Priya, I have one question.
Yeah.
Uh, for the test scenarios, do we have to write it from requirements, which you said in traceability metrics, or test scenario we write it by ourselves?
Okay. Test scenarios for now we are writing by looking at application. Okay, this is just for practice we are writing. So look at this application and write it. YouTube. Okay, how you are going to test each and every feature of YouTube. So play, pause, reduce the volume, increase it. Okay, how to close the caption or add it or settings what you have. Each and every option you can write. Play entire list, play any video from a list like this. Okay. So, how we write test scenarios are from the requirements. So requirements are nothing but just they will give a screenshot of it and that's it. Okay, you have to test the features like play a video, subscribe, like, share, and these are the options. Like this, the options will be explained. So we already know the option, what it does. So we are writing by looking at this application, which becomes again easier. And we are taking some easy exercise for now, which is YouTube application. So after this is done, we will do a practice of Facebook account, which is again a simple. And we will do a practice of Gmail account, which is again a simple. And later on, we will start with some complex applications. Okay. So after 3 applications we do for a simple ones, we will go with some complex applications where we are going to actually learn about how we write scenarios. Okay.
So, can one test scenario have multiple test cases?
Yes, obviously there can be.
Okay, so let's say suppose if I have written test scenario that we have to verify user is able to log in, and then I can write multiple test cases for that one test scenario.
Okay. For a login, you write a scenario for a valid login. Valid login is possible with email ID password. So you write only one. Don't make it compulsion that okay, I have to write multiple test cases only for one scenario. That is not mandatory. It can have or it cannot have also. Okay, if you have a scenario which is saying user is not able to log in with invalid password. Again, it will be only one test case. You write a email valid and password is invalid, and that is done. So there might be the case where one test scenario can have multiple test cases, but not always.
Okay, got it.
So make it 1-to-1 also is fine. Okay, one scenario you have, and according to that, you are testing it. For now, one scenario, one test case is also fine. You write it. Okay, just. I want everybody to write at least 10 test cases. You have to think, spend some 2 hours time, even if it takes 1 or 2 hours to write 10 test cases, which is you need it. Okay, it will take that time and write it. Okay.
Priya, I have one question. Like, what is test strategy? Do we follow any strategy to write the scenarios?
Okay, this strategy is a document which
Oh, okay.
was used to follow in waterfall model. So test strategy is what tools you are going to use. Okay, what will be the communication channel you will use for defects to report, or whom the problems you will ask. Okay, and what tools you are going to use, what software you need, what installations you need. Okay, what is the team size, then how much duration it will take, what is the scope of a testing you will do. Okay, what will be, you will not be testing it. So you mention in that document test strategy. Okay, test strategy is what you will test it, what you will not test it. You write what tools you are going to use, what tools you are not going to use. Just a Word document that is created. That's it. Okay. It is not about actually the strategy of test cases. It is about overall what you do in this project for the testing, the software installations. Okay, what is you are going to focus on? What is your team size, team communication, what tools you use, Slack for communication, email communication, like that. Okay, it's a document which has some sections in it. It is nothing about a test case strategy. Okay. Yes, did I answer your question?
Yeah, Priya, got it.
Okay. So there are test design techniques. Okay. So those techniques are decision table, and you can make the test cases based on some strategies are decision table, and so there are design techniques, strategies are different. Okay, so design techniques and something we will see in some next class. Okay. Okay, we will take it in the next class. Next to next class, in some classes, we will see what design techniques we have. Okay. So before that, you write test cases. Write test cases, which is, it is very basic, you have to write. Okay. It will not be perfect, I know already. You will have lot of corrections required. You will write much of the things may be generic, very random. Okay. But fine, you write it. So slowly, if you write it, then only you will understand how to improve it. Okay. Otherwise, you will not know how to improve that, how to write it in a much more better way. Okay. Yes, did you get it?
Yeah, Priya.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, guys. So we'll continue tomorrow. Have a great day.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Priya. Have a good day.
Yeah, thank you.